What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super card game video. My name is D-Free, and we have the new secret rare, Son Goku, the Awakened to Power. Look at that. That looks so awesome. So this is the new secret rare in the Tournament of Power set. Now, make sure that you guys do pick up your product if you want to. This is apparently a limited run set. It's not going to always be available. It's not going to be something that you can just kind of go get whenever you want, like you can with, like, you know, Union 4s and stuff like that. That stuff is still in print, apparently. So keep that in mind. If you want to get this card, you have to make sure you get this card sooner than later. He's probably going to be pretty expensive because all the secret rares they trend, $50 or so in that area. I expect this guy to be a bit more expensive just because of the fact that, like I said, limited run set. It's not going to be very common as a set, meaning that it's going to be harder, especially after a period of time, to get copies of this guy in circulation. So that's something I'm anticipating, honestly. So he's really good. We're going to go ahead and go over him. Again, hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe if you're doing all that other good stuff. So, outright, he costs 8 energy. He has 4 specified energy. The reason I want to mention that is because if you need to hard cast him, you can technically, although 8 energy is pretty insane to have to play him with. But, again, you can do it if you need to, if it ever gets to a point, which, again, the game will probably be over before you get to 8 energy. But if you're running ramp or whatever, you can do that. Because he's not limited. He does not have to be in a Universe 7 leader deck. He doesn't have to be in that. He can be in any deck you want, technically, right? So I have to mention that. Otherwise, another thing I want to mention that isn't necessarily indicative of if the card is good or not, but he has 4 specified energy costs. That is green energy. In a Universe 7 deck, that gets nullified. It doesn't matter. But again, in another deck, it does actually matter. So aside from that, he has a 10k combo with 1 energy cost. I really doubt you'd ever combo with this card if you have him in your hand. So, there's that. Anyways, he has an EX Evolve. For 1 energy, place 1 Universe 7 from your hand in the drop area. Now, that's very, very important because that's just any card with the Universe 7 trait. It doesn't have to be a Goku. It doesn't have to be a Universe 7 Goku. You can discard any card from your hand with the Universe 7 trait. For example, it can be any characters that participated in the Universe Survival, saga for Team Universe 7. Any of them. The Gohans, the Roshi card that's like, I think, a negate in your hand or something like that. You can drop that. You can also drop the extra card. There's an extra card that has a permanent that says, oh, it's Universe 7 in all areas. All areas actually include your hand. I don't know why I didn't consider that, especially when it comes to the UI Goku leader right up here. He can only run Universe 7 cards in the deck. I don't know why when I was looking at that extra card, I was like, why does it have the permanent? I was so shocked by that. I didn't understand. And later that day, I was talking to some guys, and I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because this guy, he can only run Universe 7 stuff, so technically you have that Searcher extra card, and it has, Universe 7 as a trait, so it technically can be played in the deck. So, for this guy's deck, which he's better than people give him credit for. I think people are kind of turned off because you can't include any non-Universe 7 cards in your deck, but trust me, he's really good. Otherwise, this guy's, able to fit in anything he wants, but you can discard any card, as part of the EX Evolve cost. Otherwise, this part isn't as lenient, of course, as you would expect. You have to drop that card at the drop area, but then from there, you have to evolve on top of a Universe 7 Son Goku with an energy cost of 6 or more. Now, first and foremost, by the way, I want to say this guy has some awesome-ass art, man. But anyways, the only card that actually pertains to is this card. This card is the only target for an evolve on top of that other one. And, of course, that's by design. You have UI turning into Mastered UI, right? Well, UI Omen turning into UI, right? Whatever you want to say. So, of course, that's by design. Now, UI, I feel like it's important to mention here, has the same exact energy requirements, and by all intents and purposes, he's your finisher in your deck, assuming that you're running this whole UI Goku chain. This guy is your finisher. I mean, he's triple attack, basically. They can negate him, whatever, but unless they're going to negate multiple times or Nimbus or whatever, he's going to pretty much triple strike crit. Pretty much, right? Assuming all the attacks go through. It's important to mention that he's triple attack instead of strike because maybe 1 attack doesn't go through, maybe 2 attacks don't go through, but 1 does. But nonetheless, he is your finisher, right? So, yeah. Also, if your leader is green, he has an added bonus. He is your finisher. But if for whatever reason he doesn't finish the game for you, you can drop your 1 of in the deck because, again, this card has the ultimate tag on it, which is why ooh, do you like that transition? He has the ultimate tag on it, meaning that you can only run 1 in your deck. But I love how they didn't even bother to spell it out on this one. I think they spelled it out on Vegito and on Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and they're like, oh yeah, this time we don't got to do it. So they know, they already know. But nonetheless, he has that. So if you need to, you can play this guy. The only real difference is the energy specified cost changes, which again, Universe 7 deck, and then the power goes up 10k, and then of course the effects do change. Now speaking of effects, this guy has a new mechanic or a new effect. Oh, that was too much zoom. A new effect right here. Victory Strike. So when you deal life damage by attacking with this card, you win the game. Now, it's not you win the match, a la Victory Dragon or whatever from Yu-Gi-Oh! Do I think this is broken? I think it is. I think that it's probably too big of a reward because I just don't like cards like this that say no matter what you do, you win, especially when they're accompanied with a permanent type skill. Like this character's permanent. This card's attacks and skills cannot be negated. I think that's probably too much. It's like, well, are you going to combo over 45k initial power? Well, what if I combo just 45k is so massive that if they just combo like 3 times, you know, it's almost impossible to beat unless your hand size is massive or your board presence is massive. You know, 45k outright is almost really hard to beat anyway, especially when it's coming to your leader, considering you have to get to 50k power at minimum, you know, so it's really hard to combo over. Otherwise, what are you going to do? If you're running yellow, and this is where I think yellow decks might gain popularity, more popularity anyway. They're getting used popular, but, you know, you know, at least, especially with my local scene, you know, Ginyu's there. He's great. You know, Mecha Frieza's still a thing, even though they've slowed down the explosiveness of that deck tremendously. You know, there's new yellow leaders like Bardock and stuff. There might even be a yellow leader in this deck. There's Jiren and stuff. You know, if you're running yellow leaders, right, you can use the Shigesh. You can use Shug Knight Shigesh into Explosive Kid Goku. Fine, because he doesn't have barrier, right? This guy has no barrier. Fine. So he is removable from the board. So if you find a way to either combo out of it or, you know, Explosive Shugesh, whatever, you can get him off of this. Or if the opponent, like I said, you're able to combo out of it, they end their turn because he doesn't have a restand or anything like Super Saiyan 4 Goku does. You know, you can on your turn go into a card that would be able to remove him from the board. Like that new SR Kale, the board wipe Kale. You know, she just popped the Dark Hole Kale. She just pops everything off. So he's not invincible. So that's great. Barrier is stupid unless there's a card that somehow ignores barrier. It's stupid. It's good that he doesn't have it. But nonetheless, I don't like the fact that you can't negate him. So you can't Whis' coercion. You know, things like that. You can't stop his outright attack. Now, I was told that you can still use a blocker. So if you have a revenge blocker, you know, that might be another way to do it. Now, I'm not 100% certain on this myself. I'm told that you can still use a blocker or Mafuba, like Yajirobe or the Mafuba card. But nonetheless, because they're not negates, but nonetheless, I don't know. It's weird. I'll have to kind of learn about it a little bit more because from my understanding, they all activate during the same phase anyway, right? But feel free to, you know, educate me on that if I'm mistaken. But nonetheless, if you're able to do that, great. It's just kind of like, I feel like he's not going to be very common. First and foremost, due to the outright rarity of the card and the how hard it'll be to get a copy of him, first and foremost. Secondly, simply because of the fact that you can only run one of in your deck. Now, there is a one-drop Goku that allows you to pull basically this card if you would like to. They did a good job with that one-drop Goku because he's only searching top 3, though. Now, the extra card searches top 7, but still, right? You can kind of get this card if you need to, but I don't think it's going to be super easy to do. But I do think that in relation to the previous secret rares, he might be the easiest one to fish out, in my opinion, just because of how the deck could potentially work. And it depends which deck you're running him in as well. You could have, you know, more recoverability if he's like crit away or things like that with the overwhelm cards and stuff. You can have just a lot of different viability you can run. I don't know, man. It just remains to be seen. But I do think that ability is just broken, and I wish that no card like that ever really existed. But it's not impossible to deal with, right? It's just going to be really, really hard, and it's going to force some people to adjust their decks, but I don't think he's going to be super common. But if you do have that matchup, you better make sure you have a sideboard of like Yajirobis and Mafubas, apparently, because those cards are going to be incredibly prevalent if you ever get matched up against this guy. And that's about it. Yajirobis and like the Android 16, Revenge Blockers, whatever. But otherwise, I mean, like I said, the Evolved Chain, ideally, if you didn't know, would be to pop this guy out. You have to hardcast this guy when you have 5 energy. Assuming you're running the Ultra Instinct Goku deck, you can't play anything like Ramp, so you'd have to wait the full 5 turns. So this combo might be better outside of that deck just because of that. But nonetheless, you'd hardcast this guy when you have 5 energy, and then from there, drop 2 cards from your hand. And the cool thing about this guy is, choose 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand if you want to. So he can honestly give you those 2 cards, help yourself awaken if you would like to. And then you could drop those exact same 2 cards on the same turn if you have 1 more energy, or, the next turn if you would like to, you drop those, tap 1, and then EX Evolve on top of him into this guy. And like I said, this guy is really your finisher, but if he, for whatever reason, doesn't get the job done, or you're at an insane disadvantage, you can go here, on top of that other guy. Now, in the future, they might drop some more Evolve targets for this guy, other than the other Ultra Instinct Goku. I just hope that they don't, because I don't want that to be an easier thing to get him out, because right now, unless you hardcast him again, you can only evolve him on top of another Goku. So, and this Goku specifically, who also from there can, I think, only evolve on top of this Goku. So it's very specific, right? So I just wanted to kind of talk about it, get my opinion out there, because I do think, again, this is pretty wild. Victory Strike is pretty wild, but I don't think that it's crazy enough to where, you can't deal with it, you instant lose. You have to run certain decks, yes, but I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But let me know in the comments how you guys feel. That's all that really matters to me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you were new, of course, for more content. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.